Shalom and welcome to Who is Yahuah. Thank you for joining me as we gather today's portion from the scriptures. Today's reading is Shamuth, Exodus, chapters 1 through 3. Shamuth, Exodus, chapter 1. These are the names of the sons of Yashar'Al who came into Matsrym with Jacob. Each man came with his household: Reuben, Shamaun, Louis, and Yehudah, Yashakar, Zabaloon, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. All the descendants of Jacob were 70 in number, including Yahusaph, who was already in Matsrym. Yahusaph died along with his brothers and all that generation. The children of Yashar'Al were fruitful, increased greatly, multiplied, and became exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Matsrym, who did not know Yahusaph. He said to his people, "Look, the people of Yashar'Al are more numerous and stronger than we are. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply even more. And if war breaks out, they might join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the land." So they set slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor. And they built storage cities for Pharaoh, Fatham, and Ramassus. But the more they oppressed them, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Matsrym dreaded the presence of the children of Yashar'Al. They made their lives bitter with hard labor in brick and mortar, and with every kind of work in the fields. So their labor was harsh and oppressive. Then the king of Matsrym spoke to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shapharah and Fuah, saying, "When you help the Hebrew women during childbirth, if you see that the child is a son, kill him. But if it is a daughter, let her live." But the midwives feared Elohim and did not do as the king of Matsrym commanded. Instead, they let the boys live. Then the king of Matsrym called the midwives and said, "Why have you done this and allowed the boys to live?" The midwives answered Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Matsrym women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwife comes to them." So Elohim dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and became very mighty. Because the midwives feared Elohim, he gave them households of their own. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, "Every son who was born you must cast into the river, but every daughter you may let live." Shamuth, Exodus, chapter 2. A man from the house of Louis went and took a daughter of Louis as his wife. The woman conceived and bore a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. When she could no longer hide him, she took a basket made of papyrus, coated it with tar and pitch, and placed the child in it. Then she set it among the reeds by the river's bank. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. The daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe in the river, while her maidens walked along the river's side. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her maid to fetch it. When she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby was crying. She felt compassion for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." So the young girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the child and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Mashah, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." It came to pass in those days, when Mashah had grown up, he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens. He saw a Matsri striking a Hebrew, one of his brothers. He looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Matsri and hid him in the sand. The next day he went out and saw 2 Hebrews fighting. He said to the one in the wrong, "Why are you striking your fellow Hebrew?" The man replied, "Who made you a ruler and judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Matsri?" Then Mashah was afraid and thought, "Surely this thing is known." When Pharaoh heard of this, he sought to kill Mashah. But Mashah fled from Pharaoh's presence and dwelt in the land of Madyan, where he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Madyan had 7 daughters. They came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Some shepherds came and drove them away, but Mashah stood up and helped them and watered their flock. When they came to Reuel, their father, he said, "How is it that you have come so soon today?" They answered, "A Matsri delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds, and he even drew water for us and watered the flock. He said to his daughters, Where is he? Why did you leave the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. Mashah was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Mashah his daughter Sapphira in marriage. She bore him a son, and he named him Garshum, saying, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. After a long time, the king of Matsrym died. The children of Yashar'Al groaned because of their bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to Elohim because of their bondage. Elohim heard their groaning, and Elohim remembered his covenant with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob. Elohim looked upon the children of Yashar'Al and acknowledged them. Shamuth, Exodus chapter 3. Now, Mashah was tending the flock of Yathru, his father-in-law, the priest of Madyan. He led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Karabah, the mountain of Elohim. The messenger of Yahuah appeared to him in a flame of fire from within a bush. Mashah looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Mashah thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. When Yahuah saw that he turned aside to look, Elohim called to him from within the bush and said, Mashah, Mashah. He answered, Here I am. He said, Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is Kadash ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzchak, and the Elohim of Jacob. At this, Mashah hid his face because he was afraid to look at Elohim. Yahuah said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Matsrym. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Matsrym, and to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanite, the Chathi, and the Amori, and the Pharisee, and the Hui, and the Yabusi. And now the cry of the children of Yashar'Al has reached me, and I have seen the way the Matsrym are oppressing them. So now, go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the children of Yashar'Al, out of Matsrym. But Mashah said to Elohim, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Yashar'Al out of Matsrym? Elohim said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Matsrym, you shall worship Elohim on this mountain. Mashah said to Elohim, Suppose I go to the children of Yashar'Al and say to them, The Elohim of your fathers has sent me to you. And they ask me, What is his name? What should I tell them? Elohim said to Mashah, Ahayah, Ashar, Ahayah, I am who I am. He said, This is what you are to say to the children of Yashar'Al. Ahayah has sent me to you. Elohim also said to Mashah, Say to the children of Yashar'Al, Yahuah, the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzchak, and the Elohim of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. Go, assemble the elders of Yashar'Al, and say to them, Yahuah, the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob has appeared to me, saying, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Matsrym, and I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Matsrym to the land of the Canaanite, the Chathi, the Amori, the Pharisee, the Hui, and the Yabusi, a land flowing with milk and honey. They will listen to your voice. Then you and the elders of Yashar'Al are to go to the king of Matsrym and say to him, Yahuah, the Elohim of the Hebrews, has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer slaughterings to Yahuah, our Elohim. But I know that the king of Matsrym will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike Matsrym with all my wonders that I will do in its midst. And after that, he will let you go. And I will make the Matsrym favorably disposed toward this people, so that when you leave, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor, and any woman living in her house, for articles of silver and gold and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters. In this way, you will plunder Matsrym. Thank you for joining me to gather today's portion. May we continue seeking Yahuah through his word and growing in the knowledge of him one day at a time until Yahusha gathers us. Shalom.